All right, so let's move on to the partner's point of view. You
Mm-hmm.
were just touching on that. So,
Mm-hmm.
because as you said, they too, they can have a hard time, can be very complicated for them. Being the outsider during the pregnancy can be challenging too, because they don't go physically through the whole pregnancy. They don't feel internally the baby. And so they might have some different kind of perceptions and a different bond with baby too, and it can be very, very intimidating when baby is finally here. Baby is so tiny, he looks so, fragile, and they don't want to touch it. I think it is very important to consider the partner's role to, from the get-go, during the pregnancy, but also during those first few days where, yes, the mother provides like most of it, but they have to position themselves too in the family. So, can you talk to us a bit more about that, like about the challenges they can go through and some tips to help them?
So again, for me, going back to just that communication is from the beginning, like really start talking about what your expectations are as a parent. Like, what are some things in your childhood that you like or didn't like, or what are some things that you can't wait to share and some things you promise you'll never do, or, so because to me, when I always say, like, the only manual that we really have to parenting is our own childhood.
Yeah.
Is our own experience. So let's start talking about that. Let's communicate about that. To me, that's really important. And then one thing that, and I know it's not available in the US, but I wish it was, and I know we've had this conversation before, but aptonomy.
Yes.
Aptonomy is, when you look it up, it says it's the science of touch, but it's something that I experienced in my first pregnancy when I was in France with my husband. And it was something that I seeked out because it was a way to bring him in to what was going on in my body, right? And so aptonomy really helps the partner to have a way to communicate with the baby in utero, and also help the pregnant woman to kind of alleviate, and it's actually osteopaths that
Yes.
do aptonomy in France. And it was just the most beautiful experience, because it ended up that we had this ritual where every evening when I would lie down and be a little bit more relaxed, my husband, who was the father-to-be, would communicate with our unborn child. And when she was born, I promise you, it was his touch that would calm her. It was amazing. Like, they already had that bond because they had. So we don't have aptonomy here. So here for me, it would be just make it a daily ritual so that you spend some time talking to your unborn child. You spend some time just rubbing the tummy, and so that you start creating. Read to them, sing to them, whatever your thing is, right? Because to me, I think it's really important for the parenting partner to create rituals that are going to be bonding. Because it's true that once the newborn is born, oftentimes if mom chooses to breastfeed, for example, she's the only one that can do that.
Yeah.
Unless, later on she pumps and daddy can do it and all this. So maybe the father can do the bath and do some little massages, give mom a break, read to them, go for walks, whatever. I mean, I've worked with many families, and the dads find their own thing. I had one dad, it was put the baby in the carrier and go walk on the beach with the dogs, and that was their thing in the morning. Gave mom an hour to herself. So things like that. So really, again, being okay. And I will say one thing though here is that I want mothers to be okay with that.
Yes. That's important. Yeah.
We tend to be a little, how do you say, protective. And sometimes we make dads feel like they can't do it.
Yeah.
And you know what, they're going to do it different than us, and that's okay,
Yeah.
because the child needs the differences. So empower your partner to do it their way. And you know, if they don't put the diaper on right, there's going to be a blowout once, and it's okay. They will learn. Like, you know, it's just, we tend to be a little controlling, I think, at the beginning. So, whew, you know, take a deep breath and surrender, and let your partner establish that bonding ritual with them. Skin to skin, for example, even with the fathers is very, you know, important. We always talk about skin to skin with mom, but it's extremely important for the other partner as well. So things like that. And also, you know, going back to that communication, like, try to have kind of a daily check-in of, you know, and I know it's not going to be for a long time, because there's things going on, and there's a newborn asking for, you know, food or cuddles or something. But try as much as possible to say, you know, how are you feeling? Is there something? Are things coming up? And all this, so that you can gauge and take the temperature. Because it's really important, if we see one of our partners kind of going down a darker side, to seek help, to seek support. Like, it's so important. When I was telling you about the warm line, like, I would get a lot of dads calling me, you know, saying like, I'm worried. She's not herself. She's crying. All this. So be vigilant and really take the pulse continuously, and definitely get support.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good, because I mean, of course, there is a whole emphasis on the mother, and that's how it should be, anyways. But it's important to take the other partner into account, and because they are part of the picture too, and they can do so much, and they can go through so much too, because, you know, seeing the mom exhausted, maybe they didn't know about that, and, you know, they can worry, and so, as you say, I think it's going to be the theme for that episode: communication. It's really,
definitely,
it's really what it is.
Definitely. And I'll say one thing too, is at the beginning, you know, we talk about sleep deprivation.
Yes.
And that can really be a big source of mental, you know, wellness.
Yeah.
So I really, really encourage you to take turns filling up your sleep tank. You do not need to both be exhausted. Absolutely. Take turns, you know, and I feel like we see a lot of, you know, both the parents are completely out of it, but you don't need to be. Like, again, communication, and say, you know, tonight I really, you know, need to sleep through the night. I'll pump a little bit, and you can wake up in the middle of the night. Or, you know, I'm fine feeding through the night, but, you know, tomorrow morning, can you take the baby out for a walk, or whatever. So again, being vigilant that we're not both going into that sleep deprivation, because then we cannot support each other, because we're both on edge, and we get nowhere.
Yeah. And I will add to that, because I'm reading a very interesting book right now. It's called The Postnatal Depletion Cure, I believe.
Okay.
It's a very, very, very interesting. And so the author is really speaking about sleep deprivation and how it can affect the health of the mother. So I think it is very important to take in account, even if, yes, you might be out of work for, you know, a certain time, if you have the chance that in your state you have like this time away from work, but still you need some sleep, because if you don't get enough sleep, you won't process the food the right way. So you might have a lower milk supply, and so you won't be able to provide for your kid, even though you don't decide to breastfeed. Not being able to process the food as you can make you like in the lower end of the energy. So you're always exhausted, and when you're always exhausted and you're not processing the food correctly, you can't think clearly too. So it's like really this kind of
it's a vicious circle, and we have to remember that sleep deprivation is a form of torture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we think of it that way, it's like, oh my gosh, to me, and I remember like my pediatrician telling me that sleep was actually more important than nutrition. Like sleep was like,
Yes.
make that. And so, you know, when we say sleep when baby sleeps, it's like, take it seriously.
Yeah,
Like,
do it.
it's, you know, it's not because baby is going down for a nap that you need to start cleaning the house. Like, no,
Yeah.
your sleep, your health is more important than anything else. Remember what we said at the beginning, get your village to come help you and do the cleaning while you're napping too.
Yeah. Definitely. Very, very good. All right. Thank you so much, Jeanne Marie. It was
Oh, this has
very,
been a
very
pleasure.
interesting. It was
Yeah.
a lot of valuable information. I love that. The bottom line is communicate. We say
Yes.
it many,
Yes.
many times, but
And
it's not stressed
what
enough.
do,
Yeah.
and ask yourself, what do I need right now?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You are the
Yeah.
center of the story and really taking it in account, definitely.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that's the thing too. When a mother become um, a mom, like let's say, I know that we become a mom from the pregnancy, but when baby is here, there is like a social shift of the attention to the baby. And I remember even when I was doing my studies at my osteopathic school, I did my thesis on pregnancy because I wanted to, and really postpartum, because I wanted to really shift that the mom needs uh, as much as attention, sorry, during those first few days of postpartum as she had during her whole pregnancy. And we tend to forget that because, you know, when you're pregnant, you're the star of the movie, right? But once baby is here, you're like in the back corner kind of because baby is the star of the movie now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and that can be hard. But so mom need to remind themselves that they are still in the movie and they are still the co-star with baby because I mean they burst. So you're a
Yeah.
superwoman when you do that.
Yeah. And this is probably a whole other conversation, but also to just, you know, remember that you're a human being. Like you also are a woman that has, you know, that has passions, that has things that, you know, yes, they might take a pause for a little bit, but it doesn't mean that you need to lose yourself in motherhood. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's a whole other thing,
Yeah.
but and I think it you know, it comes back to that initial question of, you know, what do I need right now? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much. I
very
can't
welcome.
thank you enough. And I know the audience will be delighted with all the clarity and answers you gave us today. I'm very, very grateful for that episode. So thank you again. And I really appreciate you coming to the show. So, and just remind us where people can find you online.
So my website is yourparentingmentor.com. Yourparentingmentor.com, all one word. My podcast is The Art of Parenting. And I'm mostly on Instagram under my name, Jeanne Marie Paynel.
All right.
That's
Perfect.
it.
Go check it out. All right.
All righty.
Thank you, Jeanne Marie. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.